One of the most popular ways of taking an income from a personal pension is via drawdown. Currently, this can be accessed from age 55, and this is increasing to age 57 from 2028. We'll look at why and how in practice this works during a retirement, along with understanding the balance between the withdrawal rate and the growth of the underlying assets. In this video, we'll use the cash flow plan to look at an actual scenario, a real life situation of a client who's adapted their spending in line with their needs and the investment returns. And rather than taking all the tax-free cash up front, they are using phased drawdown, and we can look at some of the benefits of doing that. Welcome back to all existing subscribers. Anyone new, my name is Ed Bailey and I'm a chartered financial planner with over 10 years experience in financial services. One of the first areas that you may come up against when you do come to take either your tax-free cash or you're looking to take benefits from your pension plan is that your existing pension plan may not be able to facilitate drawdown. This is typically what can occur. You've decided you want to take your tax-free cash, either whole or partially, and you call them up and they say, unfortunately, you'll need to transfer to a new arrangement, to a new pension plan to be able to access your benefits from your pension. This is due to a number of different reasons, including providers simply wanting to get clients out of older products that are more expensive to run into their new products, which are likely easier to administer and are online and also can be run at a lower cost. There can also be an issue if you have safeguarded rights or guarantees and the value of those benefits are over £30,000. In that situation, then you have to have financial advice. I cover all of that in the video above that will come up here, and if you haven't seen it, then please do go check it out, as it goes into more detail about transferring a personal pension and some of those things that you need to be aware of when doing so. Before we get into this, one of the common questions I get is how much somebody needs for their retirement. And in very broad answer to that is to refer back to the 4% rule, which is that approximately taking 4% per year with the aim of growing the fund above this rate will provide a sustainable income for life. If we use this method, then we can approximately say that you would need 25 times the level of income as a lump sum. For example, an income of £15,000 per year would equate to a fund value of £375,000. £375,000 would produce an income of £15,000 if 4% per annum was taken. This is a really useful guide. However, retirement really doesn't work in this way, and the withdrawal rate really doesn't factor in your state pension, part-time work, other income sources, and the varying of your withdrawals over time. For example, someone in their 70s would more likely be taking a far higher level of income as a percentage of their fund value than, say, somebody that retires earlier at, say, 55 or 60. So let's have a look at an example. Before I get into the assumptions being made on the cash flow plan, I just want to bring up this illustration by Carl Richards of the Behavior Gap, which I think is absolutely relevant. Having said that, I do still think it's really important that we do make plans and that we stick to them as much as we possibly can, and that you adapt those plans as life changes and things happen and change around us. And I think this is what this will show as far as this situation is concerned for this specific client. So we're assuming a 2% inflation rate, which is the one prescribed by the FCA. The client has a personal pension in place, which they've been funding £200 a month from the age of 19, and the growth rate assumed on this is 6.09, and this is really in actual returns that have been achieved on this balanced portfolio of passive funds with an average real return of 4.09%. And you can see that pension fund building up over the years with contributions going in and that growth rate. Now we've got a variable growth rate on here, but the average return is 6.09% over those years. But year to year, we'll obviously see sharp decreases and sharp increases, as you would typically expect with the stock market. So this is trying to produce a very realistic look of what actually has occurred. Having said that, future returns, we have no idea what they will look like. I did come across some really interesting research on investment returns over very long periods of time from Vanguard. Now, this is actually looking at the best, worst, and average returns from equity and bond allocations over the last 100 years. And you'll see that the portfolio of 60 to 40% allocation, so 60% equities, 40% bonds, and the best annual return was 101% and the worst was minus 38.5%, with an average return of 7.7%, which is quite startling really. What I would say is that I would take that with a large grain of salt on the basis that that would not be taking off any charges or costs over that period of time. So, and obviously that doesn't factor in inflation either, but still, it's quite interesting. At the higher end, 100% equity allocation has averaged 8.7%. Again, this is over a period of 100 years. Now, will the next 100 years see similar or the same levels of return? We have absolutely no idea. As it states at the bottom there, past performance is not a reliable indicator of future results. So in this scenario, we're just looking at Mrs. Pickles. Keep it nice and simple. And Mrs. Pickles is looking to go part-time at age 55. She's had enough of full-time work and she just wants to go part-time. She's going to be earning £6,500 of taxable income from her part-time job. And we know age 55, she has £187,761 in her pension pot. So we can see that she's earning £6,500 from her part-time work. She's wanting to take more income out than that. She needs it for expenses, and she wants to do it in a completely tax-free manner, which she can do. She's looking to then take and utilise all of her personal allowance. Now, we're assuming her personal allowance here is £12,500. Obviously, it has increased slightly by 0.5%, by about £70, but for this case, we're just assuming £12,500 just to keep things nice and simple. It means that she can take another taxable chunk of income out, and she can do this from her drawdown pension of £6,000. Now, to do that, she would also take out some tax-free cash. You can't take out the taxable element without taking out the tax-free element. The tax-free element has to come first. And what she's doing here is using phased drawdown. That means she isn't just taking the tax-free lump sum all up front. So she isn't just taking her entire pension fund and crystallizing it in one go and taking all of that tax-free cash out. So there could be situations where you'd want to do that. So it could be to pay off the mortgage or pay for a holiday or whatever it might be. So you'd have a big lump sum of cash upfront free. However, that doesn't always make sense from a tax position, because by using up all that tax-free cash up front, it doesn't then allow you to then phase that tax-free cash over the years when you may have higher levels of taxable income in the future. In addition, she's then got her £2,000 of tax-free cash on top of that as well, to give her a total income for this period of £14,500, and she's absolutely comfortable and fine living on that level of income for that period of time. Now, when she comes to age 66, she suddenly decides that she wants to spend a bit more time travelling. She wants to give up that part-time job completely, but clearly we have this gap between age 65 and when her state pension kicks in, which is age 67. Now, between this, we can then fill that gap with further drawdowns from the pension plan, and clearly we can take out more than £12,500, because we can take out £12,500 of the taxable element from the pension, but then when we still got tax-free cash in addition to that, so we can actually get a higher income of £16,666, which uses up both her tax allowance, her personal allowance of £12,500, and then she gets her tax-free cash on top of that as well. So again, it's the benefits of just phasing that drawdown over the years. What this would actually entail would be an application each time from a pension provider to access each chunk of drawdown. Now, you could take these as UF+. So you could do an UF+ of 16,666. What that would mean in terms of how that's different from doing drawdown is that in this case, with Mrs. Pickles, she's actually looking to take a monthly income. So just that works better in line with her own income needs, as opposed to via an UF+, you would receive that entire taxable element in one go, in addition to your tax-free cash as well. So hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't, let me know. We can then go on from her state pension kicks in from age 67, so she's then getting her £9,339 per year for the rest of her life, and then she wants to just keep that level of income of 16,666. She can then add in the amount of taxable income, which is 5,496, to bring her up to the £12,500 personal allowance, and she's still got that little bit of tax-free cash, which is then due on every single one of those phased drawdown payments over the years. So Mrs. Pickles has varied the level of income that she's been taking during the course of her retirement, which has in turn varied the percentage of the fund that's being taken. So in those earlier years, she was taking 4%. In this middle period, she was taking approximately 8%. And then in these later years, she's taking 5%. So she's really tried to adapt the level of spending that has been required, and also maximise her tax position as well. So getting the maximum level of income that she can from her pensions, whilst also looking to minimise the amount of tax that she's paying. So by way of an example, if she did actually want to take a larger chunk of taxable income out of any one of these pensions over the course of these years, then clearly that taxable element would be added to the other taxable income that she has, and that would take her into the basic rate tax band and then into the higher rate and additional rate, depending on the level of income being taken out, and she'd obviously pay the tax according to the band that income then falls into. We can then see what that looks like over the course of the years as she's drawing down. So she's actually drawing down a far greater percentage as the fund value falls over the course of her life. Thanks so much for watching. Please do let me know in the comments below should you have any questions.